Working in the coal mine, going down, down, down. Working in the coal mine, whoops, I'm gonna slip down. Working in the coal mine, going down, down, down. Working in the coal mine, whoops, I'm gonna slip down.
5 o'clock in the morning, I'm already up in the
Hi, this is Dick speaking. 4 minutes on the net with basics.makehits. This is a 4-part series on guitars. I've covered various things like strings and types of guitars and all that. And the last thing I've been asked to do is techniques on guitar. Now, I'll start by saying I am not a guitar teacher. Never have been, never will be, never want to be a guitar teacher. If you want all that stuff, there is absolutely mountains of guitar teaching videos, and they're very, very good, I'll have to say. I work exactly the same as Brian May and other rock guitar players that I've been with, played with, and done. And we all work the same way. I'm not what I call an idly-fiddly guitar player. I can't play 1,000 notes a minute like some of the guys can. I've no interest in it at all. But what I do is play very innovative, very interesting guitar on tracks. Very interesting, very melodic, a lot of thought gone into them. And this is the way people like Brian May think. If I've got to do a solo, I'll probably spend maybe a day, maybe 2 days, or whatever, depending on the solo or the type of backing I want for a track. I'll spend a lot of time thinking about it, and then I'll spend a lot of time messing about, as I always say, and just waiting for tricks to come to me. And then once I got that worked out in my mind, this is the way Brian May works exactly. Once you got that worked out, then you work out how you're going to do it. You know, all the tricks you're going to use, the hammer-ons and the pull-offs and everything. And then we practice it and practice it and practice it. And then we go in the studio, just exactly like this, exactly with Pro Tools there. And I play. I can have maybe 10 shots at a track, 20 tracks. I may do it 4 bars by 4 bars. I may do it 8 bars by 8 bars. I may play the whole thing right through. I don't know until I start. But it's a work in progress for me. And I will stay there and I will work and work and work and work and work. Maybe 20 takes, 30 takes until I get it absolutely right. And then with Pro Tools, of course, you can stitch it all together. Now, a lot of people will say that's cheating. To my mind, it's not. It's never been cheating. I've never thought that way. I've always thought like the original Joe Meek, who started all that way of doing things all those years ago in the 60s. And I've always worked that way. Well, then when the track is all together, put together, and the great solo is there, and the great innovative backing and all that is there, then what I've got to do then is learn that so that I can do it perfectly on stage. And then once I've got it, then it's on stage, and then it's what Gordon Giltrap famously said to me, it's finger memory. Your fingers do the work for you. So that's the way it is. So I'll break this into the techniques into acoustic guitar and electric guitar. This is acoustic. This is a very nice Gibson acoustic. It's not, you see, I would use different guitars for different tricks, like hammer-ons and pull-offs and all that. This neck is a little bit too thin for a lot of the tricks that I would do on a track. But however, let me rush through a few ideas. I made a huge mistake. The first recording session I ever did, proper recording session at Decca Records in West Hampstead. And I went in and I was playing all single note stuff. And a wonderful man called Ivor Raymond, who wrote loads of the Dusty Springfield stuff and all that, and he was producing the session for us, and he took me aside afterwards and he gave me a huge bit of advice for any guitar player. He said, always base everything you play on chords. So in other words, that's based on an E chord. Okay, so there we are, we're there. Okay, that's based on the E chord as well. everything you play should be based on an E chord. And then for modern day playing, now that is still valid today. Everything should be based on chords. In other words, then when you go into a guitar session, you're looking at a chord sheet and you see the chord, and immediately all those little riffs that you've learned through the years, they're all there. So that is a great piece of advice. Make sure that everything you play as an accompaniment, very important, as an accompaniment to a song, is all based on the chords. Never think single line and then try and put it to an accompaniment. It doesn't work. Now, the modern day way of thinking, and I've always, strangely enough, thought this way, is the Ed Sheeran type of thing, where, yes, it's a chord, there's a G chord, okay? So we got this, for instance, this sort of an idea. Now, you wouldn't believe it, but that is simply a G, a C, and an F. But doesn't it sound totally unique and innovative? And I would suggest that when you're figuring out a backing to your latest song or whatever, that you actually think in those terms. Like, that's a G chord. How can you play that G chord differently? All the different inversions you can get for that G chord. Now that's normal G chord. Now here's the trick. The C chord is... Now how different does that sound? Isn't that wonderful? And then the F chord. So always think in terms of how you can make a chord sound different. For instance, I sound like a guitar teacher now, and I'm not really. I'm just giving you tricks that make money. Saying a G major 7th can sound that. There's a G major 7th, but there's a G major 7th. How different does that sound? And how different does this sound? So there's loads of ways. Now you can even go here. Sound different? So you see the way I'm trying to get you to think. Think in a money-making way of playing guitar. Don't play ordinary chords. Spend a bit of time and figure out how you can play it a bit different. That will make a lot of difference. For instance, an E chord. Yeah? Well, how about if you play it up there? Guess what chord that is? That is an A chord. But doesn't it sound totally different when you do that? Now, if you reverse your fingers around, you can go... That's an A chord as well. But doesn't that sound immensely different? Just a few ideas and a few tricks. This is on acoustic guitar. I mean, for instance, I recorded Working in a Coal Mine, the old track, the other week, and it was in E minor. The song was written in E major, and I put the whole thing into E minor. And I'm thinking, that sounds nice. And then I thought, why not go? See the difference? Now that is money-making guitar stuff. Think that way. So this is Deck. Gosh, I had to squeeze in a lot into this. I'm well over 4 minutes, but there we are. Deck. 4 minutes on the net with Deck. makehits.com, Serious Writers Guild. Are you a member yet? You should be. Listen, I'll get on to electric guitar next week. So this is for A, and the electric guitar will be for B. See you next week. Bye.
Working in a coal mine, going down, down, down. Working in a coal mine, what's the sun gonna gonna slip down, working in the coal mine, going down, 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 working in the coal mine. Whoops, I'm gonna slip down.
5 o'clock in the morning,